What I'm about to show you might just be one of the worst charts I've ever seen. It's a chart that's so bad, it's caused me to make not only this video, but possibly a new series of videos of terrible charts that I've found online. But why is it so bad? Well, let me set the scene. Let's say you were asked to make a chart showing the various heights of different women in different countries across the world. What sort of chart would you consider making for this? Would you make a clean bar chart, where every country is in proportion and it's very easy to see which country has the tallest women? Would you be more creative and potentially show something using a map chart to show different correlations across different continents of the world? Or would you build something like this? What's the first ridiculous thing you see about it? Let's start with the obvious, shall we? The woman from India comes up to roughly the height of the Latvian woman's knees. I know the shortest woman in the world is from India, but come on, this is a bit ridiculous. But before we get into my biggest issues with the chart, if this was you or somebody that you know that actually made this chart, know that this is nothing personal to you. At the end of the day, this is all a learning process. Mostly learning how to make a terrible chart and how to avoid doing so, but still a learning process nonetheless. So if you have any other charts that you'd like me to poke fun at, let me know in the comments below, and if I use it in one of my videos, I'll give you a shout out as well. For now, let's go back to this tiny Indian lady and figure out exactly why she's so much shorter than everybody else. The issue is actually quite simple, and it's the y-axis. It starts at, well, it's not actually clear what it starts at, but let's say around 4'10". This in itself is completely arbitrary. The only reason it starts at this height is so that India can even be added in the first place, and you can see the horrible consequences of this decision as a result. If you're going to make a chart like this, consider zeroing the y-axis, or at least making it start much lower than 4'10". But of all the issues that I have with this chart, one issue stands out way above the rest. I'm pretty sure I know what tool is being used to create this chart, and that tool is Microsoft Paint. Let me explain why I'm so sure of this. Firstly, the women bar icons. Look, I love the idea of using human-like elements to display height, but not like this. To me, it's clear that this person has taken an image of a person and resized it to fit each height of bar, meaning that the width of them is also changing. This is why we're seeing so many people overlapping with each other, and even with the y-axis, which is really not a good look for the chart. The other reason I think a tool like Paint has been used for this takes us back to the y-axis. In fact, it actually takes us back to both axes. Look at the lines on the axis in particular. The space between them is not even. They're not even particularly close to even. This also brings us back to the point earlier in the video about the y-axis. The reason that I wasn't sure where the y-axis started is because of this issue. Guys, I can't believe I even have to be saying this, but don't use Microsoft Paint to create charts. Use a tool like Power BI, even consider using a tool like Excel if you have to, but don't use Microsoft Paint. It's horrible for making charts like this. Anyway, that's enough criticising from me. The chart's not actually all that bad. It's a pretty interesting subject. And shout out to all the Latvian women who are obviously freakishly tall, and all the Indian women who are clearly roughly the height of a Jack Russell. But that's all for today, and I'll see you next time with another terrible chart.